Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. My name's Heather, and I write queer dark fantasy and supernatural horror. Tonight, I just wanted to get a bit of a jump on my writing plans that I have going on in 2022, in the idea of having a bit of a short horror novella, supernatural horror novella, that I might be looking at doing in Kindle Vella or Kindle Unlimited. I haven't quite decided what publishing avenue I wanted to go through. So I was just going to take you also through the process that I go through to plot and get a basic idea. And then I go through, after I've written out this plot, and get a better understanding of the avenues that the chapters, that each of them are going to have. So I use this now framework just to have a sort of, it's my brain dump. So I've been playing around with it on a piece of paper. That's what I'm going to do. So each of them have there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. I've written 7, but there's actually 8 sort of ideas, because this also helps flesh out your plot and also know roughly how long your story will be. So let me dive in to this is the so I've got to change it from 7 to 8, so I'm sorry about that. But the first one is the premise. So what the basic idea of your story is, whether it is a setting. So the basic idea that pops into your head, and it could be a scene or a character you really want to write about. This one is a character I generally have been playing around with a lot, and just wanted to have some fun with. So what we can do is we can jump into our timer. Nope. Here we go. Our timer. So each bit, I think I'll give us 7 minutes to go through and just answer these. Yeah. Hang on. Let me add. Don't know if I can. I can't share 2 at once. Okay. Nope. Sorry. This one. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll dive in, and I'll just let you guys have your thoughts about that. So I'll just start our timer. So it's completely pointless. And I'll mute myself. Okay, so now we're back from our first sort of go away and think. So the premise, so this will also, as I said, that this is helping coming and plotting a horror novella with me, because the premise that I've been playing around with in my head is a character I really want to write. It's about a demon, and their nature goes against what the demon nature is. So it's a fun idea and stuff, but I don't think I actually could have enough for a full length novel. Hello, Writing Violet. How are you? Nice to have you here. As I said, this is just sort of a rough plotting ideas I have for the basic how I build my plots for a novella. And we just sort of took about 5 minutes to jot down our ideas of a new project that we're going to work on for stuff. Or you can look at it and apply this retroactively to a thing. And yeah, so this is a demon sort of story that my demon goes against their nature. So it's sort of a supernatural horror. I do have a video on how to choose your genres as well, because I think that's important if you are looking at writing long term, because that is an important idea, I think, if you are looking at self-publishing or traditional publishing. So shall we move on to the next one? Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out where there it is. So it goes, so what can happen? So you've got to start thinking of your, the avenues the events that are going to happen in your story, to how they can shape the story and such. And then, as I've written here, these are just ideas that popped into my head of what obstacles are there? Are there any subplots you can add in? Are the things that are going to happen internal, external factors? I really need to go edit these slides. Or are you going on a positive or negative character arcs? So, as I've said, my idea is that my demon goes against their nature, so it is going to be a bit of a issue in terms of that. So I'd love to hear how you would add to this. If you have any additional thoughts. So yeah, the additional thoughts I have. So shall we have a couple of minutes and we can just think about this one? So I have currently got through sort of a self-loathing issue. So it's an internal pressure. And then there will be external in the forms of banishment from their little demon home. And then the next consideration for building our plot is who is actually involved. So what do you have a big cast of characters or a small cast of characters in your story or novel? And if they're part of the society, is there a hierarchy? So I have the demon hierarchy. Their own sort of clan of demons they belong to. And then, given they would have to go out into the mortal realm, there will be mortals of both male and female. Ideas? And we move on to why are characters the way they are at the beginning of your story? So you can take a minute and just think about that for a moment and jot down some ideas. I'll just put myself on mute. So I've just made some notes for myself about the motivations of the characters that are in, well, the main character, and how others fulfill their motivations around the character. So I'd love if you are feeling up to sharing, dropping your opinions down in the comments, in the live chat, or in the stream, if you're watching the replay. And thank you if you are watching the replay. Don't forget to smash that like button, and also consider subscribing, because I will be posting videos once a week in the new year. I do have my 2020 reading, writing, and channel intention video up. I'll link that in the cards and in the description for you if you're interested in watching that one. Yeah. So the reason I had the motivations at the beginning of my story is my main demon character is the way they are. It's just the way they were born. However, there is the hierarchy of the demons and the role they play within the world. So we'll move on to our next one, which is the setting. So, does it all happen in one location, or does it happen in multiple areas? Given this is a supernatural horror, my character will have to move from the demon underworld realm such into the mortal realm. So I'll give you all about 2 minutes to come up, 2 to 3 minutes just to have a think of the settings that you have. I'll mute myself. Okay, and now that we're just giving a thought to our settings. Okay, so you have a vague idea of a story with some horror elements, but it's different. It's a bit different than what I normally write. What do you normally write, Violet? Because it doesn't necessarily have to be the same thing you write. You can use this format for whatever genre you normally write. I just stick to my genres because I enjoy writing horror, and dark fantasy is kind of a subgenre of horror. But also, do you know what plan you have for your publishing? Are you going to try and traditionally publish? Are you trying to self-publish? Or are you just going to write them and then see where they take you? Because in my Wildish Author Dream video, I thought about it, and I would really like to be a hybrid author. But this one, I'm actually going to try possibly Kindle Vella when it launches in Australia, or Kindle Unlimited, just as something different, because my current book is actually wide, and it's 99 cents at all e-retailers, which is down in the comments if you are interested in picking it up before it goes back up to standard price. It's called Rippled Reflections, and it's kind of a supernatural suspense paranormal coming of age story. But that's shameless self-plug. We can move on to the next sort of idea that also melts nicely into your character motivations. But this is, what are their underlying needs in what does your character actually need? It's different to what they want, which I think is always hard to differentiate between the two, because your character might need something very different to what they want. But this is also, if you've made the decision, there you go, maybe traditional publishing someday, but I write fantasy. Romance. Ooh, romance. It's always a good, no, I shouldn't say always a good subplot, but I don't think I've got enough creativity, weirdly, to write a straight out romance. I think I would do a disservice to the genre, and I think that's also something that you need to be aware of is what you are good at and what you're less good at. So yeah, this is the one I find quite interesting as well. It is a question that popped into my head while I was looking at this. If you are putting your character on a negative arc, will your main character endure or inflict suffering to get what they want or need? Because if they are on a negative character arc, it can be more driven by what they want, because they want what they want. And is it going to be something that's easy to complete? Because then that may also shorten the length of the story you're writing from possibly a novel to a novella or even a short story. Because some stories don't need to be 600 pages long. Some stories actually would need to be more than 10,000 words long. So we'll come back at 5 past the hour, and we can just take a moment to think about what our character needs. So along with the underlying motivations of why they are the way they are, it's also what are their needs underlying So I'll mute myself and give you about 3 minutes to get some notes down. So, okay, just want to say hi to Shay, who's just joined us and is waking up. So thank you for the support. Without going into too many spoilers, did you have any ideas of what your character's underlying needs would be? Mine is a bit more along the lines of self-acceptance and love and self-love and removing themselves from sort of a toxic environment. So mine's a bit more of a self-love horror, which sounds a bit counterintuitive, but it's important. The next idea is, how will they change over the course of your story? So if they don't fulfill their desires or needs, or if they do, will it damage their lives or those around them? So I think it all depends on the arc as well that your character's going on. So my character sounds a bit of a cop-out, but they don't actually need to change themselves and how they and their identity within their own being. However, there will be changes done to them due to their not needing to change, that they don't go with their demon nature, if that makes sense. So yeah, just considering that, we'll come back at 10 past. We can just write a few notes. So we're now back after, considering how things will change over the course of the novel. And then, so the final part, and I'm not expecting to get an actual answer to this one, because obviously you'd be spoiling your plot and your stories, but sort of how would you finish off your story? So is it sort of a hero's quest, so they start where they finish but they're better off? There's a new issue to be tackled as they move forward. Does everyone get the happily ever after, or does it just they end at a different point when they started and they just move forward? So that is a consideration to have with the ending of your novel. So my thoughts were, as I have gone now through sort of the 8 ideas and ways I plot and build my plot. This is one method. I do have a few different. I go through, the 3-act, 9-block, 27 chapter idea that Kay-tastic has up on her channel, which is another good one. I'll link that up in the cards for you if you are interested. So now that I've got those sort of blocks, I would look at sort of the length of story. If you think you've got enough there, because it's now you've gone from your premise all the way through sort of thinking about character motivations and, your character's needs and how it's going to end and what's going to change and your other characters that are involved in your story, you can sit down and sort of, what I like to do is now think roughly how big the story is. So with that knowledge, I've decided that this is going to be a novella, and Reedsy has kind of defined a novella as something that's between sort of like 17,500 to 40,000 words. So I'm going to aim for a nice sort of sweet 25,000 word count roughly. I'm not prescribing wholly to that. So with that, I sort of now will sit down and block out chapter by chapter what's happening and how things are going to move forward. So if you would like to see a bit more in depth, because these are the notes I have, I won't let you read too much of it. And then that one with my little, and I have another piece of paper. So I will sort of go, most novellas have about 10 chapters in them. So that means I need to write about 2,500 words approximately per chapter. Yeah. Or if we go, which will lead me to 10 chapters, or if I go sort of in 1250 per chapter, that gets me about 20 chapters, but that's also a quick sort of turnaround, which would then make it quite nice and easy if I was to follow the Kindle Vella avenue down. Let me know if you guys have tried Kindle Vella, if you are in the United States, because I know that Amazon's launched it there, or if you are self-published, if you'll go wide. Traditional publishing like Violet, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts and feelings as well. So that is basically how I build my plots out. So now I've just got to kind of slot in my plot, the way I've built my plot, and just get my story arc going through. So I will take about 10 to 15 minutes just to sort of sit here and think. And I will put on a timer for us. If you'd like to also sit and try and write out some plot. Yeah, I'll sit about 15 minutes. Don't know where all these other people are coming from. They keep popping in and being very disruptive and rude. Just put that there. Down here. And I will be back with this at the end of 15 minutes and hopefully have my rough chapter by chapter breakdown. so I can then start getting this drafted. So I'll see you on the other end of this. So how did everyone go with that sort of breakdown to see how they would work with their chapters? At the moment, I've got approximately 11 chapters, very roughly plotted out. But from this point, I like to sort of discovery write through the chapters because then it gives me a bit of creativity. So I'm still on my plotting / pantsing journey, but I'm quite happy with where I am of sort of having a sort of story beat breakdown and then a chapter breakdown, and then letting my creativity and my characters work through the rest of the story. I'd love to know what your methods are, if you're a hardcore plotter, if you're a bit of a pantser, if you do a bit of both, like I do. So yeah, that's how I tend to work with mine. But I think because we're now getting quite a few people coming in spamming us, and it is getting a bit late in my neck of the woods, I'll let you guys continue your lovely days. Thank you for coming. If you're not already, please consider subscribing, as I am going to be putting out new videos. I do have one coming out in a couple of days. So if you don't want to miss that, hit the little notification bell. And thank you for coming. And until then, let's use our voices to promote positive change in the world. Thank you and goodbye for now.